Hello, my dear students. Welcome you all to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend for the subject biology, and I will be taking the zoology part, that is animal science. My dear students, today we are going to start with endocrinal system of cockroach, endocrine glands, or the hormonal system. So endocrine glands coming to that these endocrinal cells, which are intercerebral endocrinal cells, so these intercerebral endocrinal cells, they are found in cerebral ganglia and secrete hormone to brain. Okay, so these intercerebral endocrinal cells, they are just like hypothalamus, which control the pituitary and the other glands. Okay, so the intercerebral endocrinal cells, they are found in cerebral ganglia and they secrete brain when they secrete hormones to brain. It regulates the activity of prothoracic gland. So these intercerebral endocrinal cells, they control the activity of prothoracic gland. Corpora cardiaca, it secretes growth hormone. Corpora cardiaca, it secretes growth hormone in childhood to control the growth of nymph larva. In adult stage, these glands regulate the heartbeat. So corpora cardiaca, it is having two functions depending upon the age. First function is to control the overall growth of the nymph so that nymph can be converted into adult. And in the adult stage, in the adult phase, it helps to regulate the heartbeat. Corpora elata, these glands secrete juvenile hormone, neotenin. Neotenin is secreted at the childhood stage, okay, by the gland corpora elata. Corpora elata secretes juvenile hormone. Neotenin, it helps to regulate the growth and differentiation of different tissues, okay. It also helps to prevent the molting and the metamorphosis, okay, because neoteny is a term which relates to retaining of adult features by larva. So when larva looks like an adult, retaining of adult features by larva. That is known as what? Neoteny. That is why the name of hormone is neotenin. So neotenin, it regulates the growth and differentiation of different tissues and it prevents the molting or metamorphosis. These glands secrete gonadotropic hormones in adult stage. It regulates the activity of reproductive organs. Corpora elata, it also helps to secrete gonadotropic hormone in the adult stage and it regulates the activity of reproductive organs. So corpora elata in childhood stage secretes neotenin, which is a juvenile hormone. Neotenin, it promotes the differentiation and the growth of tissues and it prevents the molting and metamorphosis. These glands also help to secrete gonadotropic hormone in adult stage and it regulates the activity of reproductive hormones. Then prothoracic gland. Prothoracic gland is found only in nymph stage, okay, in the larval stage. The secretion of echidisone, which is a hormone responsible for echidisis or molting in nymph, molting hormone. This hormone induces molting. So prothoracic gland, it is related with the secretion of echidisone. So echidisone, it helps in the molting, in conversion of larva into adult. Okay, it is found only in nymph stage. Prothoracic gland secretes echidisone. It is found only in nymph stage. Okay, it is helpful for the molting, and that is why it is also known as molting hormone. Coming to the next slide. So corpora cardiaca, corpora elata, and prothoracic gland. Okay, intercerebral endocrinal cells. Compound eyes. Compound eyes are made up of 2000 units, and these special units are known as what? Ommatidia. Okay. Outer part of ommatidia is hexagonal. It is having a hexagonal lens or a corneal lens, which is formed by transparent cuticle. So compound eyes is basically made up of 2000 units of spatial structures known as what ommatidia, and outer part of ommatidia is basically having a hexagonal lens or corneal lens which is formed of transparent cuticle. Just beneath each lens there is a presence of two small cells known as what corneogen cells. So just beneath each lens there is a presence of corneogen cells. Corneogen cells. Okay. Corneogen cells, they secrete cornea or they secrete lens. So outer part of the ommatidia is having hexagonal lens or corneal lens which is formed by transparent cuticle. Just beneath each lens there is two small cells known as what corneogen cells, and corneogen cells they help to secrete lens. At the time of molting, lens also shed from body, so cockroach becomes blind. Okay, for some time. At the time of molting, okay, the lens is also exfoliated from body, so cockroach becomes blind for some time. Corneogen cells, they help in the secretion of new lens. Corneogen cells, they help in the secretion of new lens. Beneath these cells, means corneogen cells, there is a crystalline cone which is formed by four surrounding conical cells known as vitrilla or cone cells. So just beneath the corneogen cells, there is a crystalline cone which is formed by four surrounding conical cells, which is known as what vitrilla or cone cells. Crystalline cone which serve as a accessory lens. So crystalline cone is served as a accessory lens, and the hexagonal lens or corneal lens they are secreted by corneogen cells. Okay. So just beneath the corneogen cell, there is a presence of crystalline cone which is surrounded by four conical cells, vitrella or cone cells. Crystalline cone basically serve as a accessory or helper lens. Substituent. Part of spatial ommatidia up to cone cell is known as dioptric part or focusing part. So it is a part between cone cell and the ommatidia, which is known as what dioptric part or the focusing part. So focusing part or dioptric part is between the ommatidia and cone cell. Beneath the crystalline cone, there is a circle of 7 cells called reticular cells. Okay, so reticular cells they are 7 in number, and they are basically the 7 cells which are arranged in a form of circle. So just beneath the crystalline cone, there is a presence of cells which are arranged in a form of circle, 7 cells, and they are known as what? Reticular cells. So ommatidia, corneal lens, corneogen cells secretes lens. Okay, the corneogen cell secretes new lens as well if it gets damaged. Okay, just beneath the corneogen cells, a crystalline cone is there which is surrounded by four conical cells known as cone cells of vitrella. This crystalline cone it serves as a accessory lens or substituent lens. Part of ommatidia up to cone cell is known as what? Dioptric part or focusing part. Beneath the crystalline cone, there is a circle of 7 cells called reticular cells. The inner border of each reticular cell bears microvilli. It is having microvilli. The inner border of the reticular cells, the inner border of each reticular cell bears microvilli. The microvilli of 7 rhabdomeres interdigitate when it is having fine finger-like projections which basically interdigitate between each other like this. Okay, interdigitation to form a long, narrow, refractile structure known as rhabdome. So microvilli of 7 rhabdomeres forms interdigitation to form a long, narrow structure known as what? Rhabdome. Image is formed on rhabdome. So rhabdome is analogous to retina. The inner border of each reticular cells bears microvilli. It is having microvilli, and the rhabdome it is the part where image is captured. It is just like retina. Region of the reticular cells is called receptor region. It is known as what? Receptor region. A nerve fibers arising from each reticular cell, all nerve fibers of the compound eye together forms the optic nerve. a nerve fiber arising from the reticular, each reticular cell, and all these nerve fibers, they form the optic nerve. So the reticular cells, they give off the nerve fibers, and these nerve fibers of compound eye, they form optic nerve. Image is formed on rhabdo. These nerves supply these nerves supply protocerebrum of cerebral ganglion. All these optic nerves, they supply protocerebrum of cerebral ganglion. Ommatidium surrounded by a pigmented sheath. Ommatidium is surrounded by a pigmented sheath. Two parts of this pigmented sheath. The upper part, which is the irish pigmented sheath, and the lower part is reticular pigmented sheath. The pigmented sheet is having two parts. The irish pigmented sheet, which is the upper part, and the lower part is the reticular pigmented sheet. Pigmented sheet separates ommatidia from each other. So this pigmented sheet helps to separate two ommatidias. They prevent the light rays entering into one ommatidium from crossing over to the adjacent ommatidia. So blurring of vision is prevented by preventing of blurring of vision by pigmented sheet. So blurring of vision is basically prevented by pigmented sheath, which is the uh, upper part. Okay, I mean the pigmented sheath is basically having two parts: the irish pigmented sheath and the which is present on the upper part, and the lower reticular pigmented sheath. Okay, pigmented sheath that help to separate materia from each other, and these pigmented sheath, they helps to you know the projection or interference of two multiple nerves, okay, which are crossing from one ommatidium to the other ommatidium. In this way, they prevent blurring of vision. So optic nerve is formed by the nerve fibers of reticular cells, and all these nerves supplies to protocerebrum of cerebral ganglion. Okay, the retina is, I mean, the rhabdome is the retinal part or the receptor region where the image is captured. Microvilli, the inner border of the retinal cells is having microvilli. Okay, so microvilli of seven rhabdomeres, it interdigitate to form a long, narrow, refractile structure known as what? Rhabdome. Mechanism. There are two types of vision. One is the appository or apposition or mosaic vision. So apposition vision, it forms in bright light. Apposition vision, it forms in bright light. Ommatidia fully covered by pigmented membrane. The light rays reflected from an object enter into a number of ommatidia. Okay, so ommatidia is basically covered by pigmented sheath, pigmented membrane, and the light rays, they are reflected from any object enter into a number of ommatidia. An oblique light ray that enters into the focusing part of the ommatidium. Focusing part is in between the cone cells. Okay, so the part of the ommatidia up to the cone cell is known as what? The dioptric part or the focusing part. Okay, so any oblique ray which enters to the focusing part, okay, which is in between the ommatidia and the crystalline cone, okay, strikes against its pigmented sheath. It strikes against its pigmented sheath and becomes absorbed. Okay, so that is why an oblique light ray cannot make the image. So oblique light ray cannot make a image. So if an oblique light ray enters into the focusing part, which is between ommatidium and the crystalline cone, it strikes against the pigmented sheath and becomes absorbed. A straight light ray that enters into the ommatidium, on the other hand, reaches to its receptor region. Receptor region is where the rhabdome is there. Rhabdome is just like retina where image is captured and forms the image of corresponding part of the object. Thus, all the straight rays entering into an eye from an object from separate images, they form separate images of different parts of the object, okay, in different ommatidia. That is why it is known as what? Mosaic vision or the multiple vision of one object. The totality of these small images is, however, a compound image of the whole object. Such an image is called apposition image, okay. As each image is basically a appository, it is helping to make a complete picture. It is clear and detailed. Then the superposition image, the second type of image, it is in the dim light in nocturnal insects. In the night, the pigmented sheath of the ommatidia contracts and shrinks to its base. Hence, these light rays can easily cross over one ommatidium to the adjacent ommatidia. So, in the daytime, the oblique rays which cannot cross one ommatidia to the other ommatidia, as they are reflected by the pigmented sheet and they are absorbed there only. But in the night, the pigmented sheet of the materia contracts and shrinks to its base, and that is why the light ray can easily overcome these ommatidias to move adjacently. Complete images are reformed in all ommatidia. They result in the formation of blurred superposition of the object. In cockroach, only apposition images are formed day and night, no contraction power in pigmented sheet. So in cockroach, there is no superposition of image as there is no contraction power in pigmented sheet. Okay. So in cockroach, there is only one type of vision, that is mosaic vision or apposition vision. There is no superposition of image. Superposition of images is found in dim light in nocturnal insects. Okay, in the night, the pigment sheath it contracts, and that is why the light rays can, pass through the adjacent ommatidias. The complete image is reformed in all the ommatidia. The result in the formation of blurred image. Okay, of the superposition of the object. In cockroach, only apposition image is formed or the mosaic vision is present because the contraction power of the pigment sheet is absent. So this is all about the compound eyes and the endocrinal system. Okay. So in the next class, we will be starting the reproductive system. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Stay safe.